What happens if you cut down all of a city's trees? This is a tale of two ancient cities and the trees that determine their destinies. In 3000 BC, Ura was more densely populated than modern-day New York City. This crowded capital had to continually expand their irrigation system to feed its growing population. 2,500 years later, in Sri Lanka, the city of Nuradopro had similar problems. They were also growing constantly. At like Ro, the city relied heavily on an elaborate irrigation system. As Ura grew, its farmers began chopping down trees to make space for more crops. In Nuradopara, however, trees were safer. The city housed an of the Buddhist tree, under which Buddha himself was said to have attained enlightenment. Religious reverence slowed farmers' access, and even led the city to plant additional trees in urban part. Initially, Ura's expansion worked well, but without trees to filter their water supplies, Ura's irrigation system became contaminated. Elaborate water left mineral deposits, which rendered the soil too salty for agriculture. Conversely, a Nuremberg irrigation system was designed to work in concert with the surrounding forest. Their city eventually grew to more than the twice Ura's population, and today, a Nuradipura still cares for a tree planted over 2,000 years ago. We may think of nature as being unconnected to our urban spaces, but trees have always been an essential part of our successful cities. Trees act as a natural sponge, absorbing stormwater runoff before releasing back to the atmosphere. The web of this root protects against mudslide, while allowing the soil to retain water and filter out toxins. Roots help prevent floods, while reduce need for storm drain and water treatment plant. Their porous leaves purify air by trapping carbon and other pollutants, making them essential in fighting against climate change. Humanity has been uncovering these arboreal benefits for centuries, but trees are just crucial to the health of cities' infrastructure. They play a vital role in the health of citizens as well. In the 1870s, Manhattan has a few trees outside the island's park. Without trees to provide shade, buildings absorb up to 9 times more solar radiation during deadly summer heat wave. Combined with period poor sanitation standards, the oppressive heat made the city a breeding ground for bacteria like cholera. In modern-day Hong Kong, tall skyscrapers and underground infrastructure making it difficult for trees to grow. This contributes to city's dangerous poor air quality. It will cause bronchitis and diminished lung function. Trees affects our mental health as well. Research indicates the presence of green foliage increases attention space and decreases stress level. It's even shown that hospital patients with a view of a brick wall recover more slowly than those with view of trees. Fortunately, many cities are full of views like this, and that's no accident. As early as the 18th century, city planners began to embrace the importance of urban trees. In 1733, Colin James Orgaford planned the city of Savannah, Georgia, to ensure that no neighborhood was more than 2-minute walk from a park. After World War II, Covenant had directed all new developments along 5 arteries, each sandwiched between the park. This layout increased the city's resilience to pollution and natural disaster. And urban trees don't just benefit people. Portland Forest Park preserves the region's natural biodiversity, making the city home to various local plants, 120 bird species, and 62 species of mammals. No city is more committed to trees than Singapore. Since 1967, Singapore government has planted over 1.2 million trees, including those with a 50 meter tall vertical garden called super trees. These structures sustain themselves and nearby conservatory the solar energy and collect its rainwater. Trees and vegetation currently cover over 50% of Singapore's landmass, reducing need for air conditioning and encouraging low pollution transportation. By 2015, it estimates over 65% of the world's will be living in cities. City planners can lay an eco-friendly foundation, but it's up to the people who live in these urban forests to make them home for more than humans. One more. This is a tale of two ancient cities and the tree that determined their destiny. In 3000 BC, Iraq was more densely populated than modern-day New York City. This crowded capital has to continually expand their irrigation system to feed its growing population. 2,500 years later, in Sri Lanka, the city of Nuradopala has a similar problem. They were also growing constantly, and like Uro, their city relies heavily on an elaborate irrigation system. As Uro grew, its farmers began chopping down trees to make space for more crops. In Radukura, however, trees were sacred. Their city housed an altar of the Bari tree, under which Buddha himself was said to have attained enlightenment. Religious reverence slowed farmers' access, and even led the city to plant additional trees in urban parks. Initially, Ura expansion worked well, but without trees to fill their water supplies, Ura irrigation system became contaminated. Inadequate water left mineral deposits, which rendered the soil too salty for agriculture. Conversely, a Nurapura irrigation system was designed for in concert with the surrounding forest. Their city eventually grew to more than twice Ura population, and today, Anuradipura still cares for the tree planted over 2,000 years ago. We may think about nature as being unconnected to our urban spaces, but trees have always been an essential part of the successful cities. Tree acts as a natural sponge, absorbing stormwater runoff before releasing it back into the atmosphere. The weight of their roots protecting against the mudslides while allowing the soil to retain water and filter out toxins. Roots help prevent flood, reducing needs for storm drain and water treatment plants. Their porous leaves pure the air by trapping carbon and other pollutants, making them essential in fighting against climate change. Humanity has been uncovering this arboreal benefit for centuries, but trees are not so crucial to health of the city infrastructure. They play a vital role in the health of citizens as well. In the 1870s, Manhattan has few trees outside the island's park. Without trees to provide shade, buildings absorbed up to 9 times more solar radiation during deadly summer heat wave. Combined with period poor sanitation standards, the oppressive heat made the city a breeding ground for bacteria like cholera. In modern-day Hong Kong, tall skyscrapers and underground infrastructure making it difficult for trees to grow. This contributes to city's dangerously poor air quality, which can cause bronchitis and diminished lung function. Trees affect our mental health as well. Research indicates the presence of green foliage increases attention span and decreases stress levels. It's even shown that hospital patients with a view of a brick wall recover more slowly than those with a view of trees. Fortunately, many cities are full of views like this. And that's no accident. As early as the 18th century, city planners began to embrace the importance of urban trees. In 1733, Colonel James Orgaford planned the city of Senegal, Georgia to ensure that no neighborhood was more than 2 minutes walk from a park. After World War II, Copenhagen directed all new developments along 5 arteries, each sandwiched between a park. This layout increased the city's resilience to pollution and natural disaster, and urban trees don't just benefit people. Partly Forest Park preserved the region's natural biodiversity, making the city home to various local plants, 112 bird species, and 62 species of mammals. No city is more committed to trees than Singapore. Since 1967, Singapore government has planted over 1.2 billion trees, including those within 50 million tall vertical garden called super trees. These structures sustain themselves and nearby conservatories with solar energy and collected rainwater. trees and vegetation currently cover over 15% of Singapore's landmass, reducing needs for air conditioning and encouraging low pollution transportation. By 2050, it's estimated that over 65% of the world will be living in a city. City planners can lay an eco-friendly foundation, but it's up to the people who live in these urban forests to make them home for more than humans.